What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader, and to continue the theme of not my typical video, I wanted to show you guys this new book release that literally just came out, or at least I just got my copy a few days ago. And it's actually a friend of mine that I've met through the bootleg forums on Facebook. His name is Jacob Pierzynski. He's actually a composer and like into music and things like that, but he had like a really extensive Polish bootleg collection. And some of the other members finally convinced him that he needed to write a book on them because he had some really, really rare figures. And so here it is. What's interesting is that he wrote it a while ago, but he didn't have the money to do the printing for the books. So he did an Indiegogo, which is like Kickstarter or whatever the hell those websites are called, where he crowdsourced the money in order to pay for the printing of the books. And it's a very small run. I think he only printed maybe 120 copies of this book. So it's very low copy or low number of copies made. But I was one of the original backers. There was 80 of us. I got my name in the back of the book, which is pretty cool. And so I finally just got it in the mail, and it came with a third generation overstock Polish bootleg ATST driver, which I already had like 8 of those, but anyway, it was pretty cool that he sent that in with it though. But here's the book, and I wanted to just kind of show it to you briefly. I've only got one graded Polish bootleg right now. All my other ones are at Collector Archive Services. So I've got Boba Fett here with his dark green chest plate, providing some support for this video. That's the only one I got. Everything else is away or sitting below this camera right now while I put together funds. But this book is really, really cool. Again, it's called Far, Far Away, A Guide to Unlicensed Vintage Polish Star Wars Figures. And the book, I haven't read all of it, but I've read a lot of it. Just for FYI, this is a first-generation silver-haired with black-bodied Leia. And this is in the author Jacob's collection. There are only 3 known figures that they found so far that are like this, so it's extremely rare. I think the last one changed hands for about $3,000 or $4,000, so it's a very, very, very expensive figure to find. And like I said, I think in the book he mentions there's only three known copies of that figure. And interesting, on the back it shows the black Polish bootleg Hoth Stormtrooper. I've only seen one of these just through a Facebook friend, and he had it for sale very briefly for $5,000. So it's extremely hard to find some of these figures. But I wanted to read some of the back of the book. This book is about vintage toys made in a country where people could see Star Wars movies in cinemas, but were not able to buy the licensed Kenner action figures in the shops. And as an aside note, they just couldn't afford them. It was communist Poland at the time, and the figures were just too expensive for them. So bootleggers, snuck some into the country, and obviously the Cold War was going on, so, American capitalism, American products were kind of banned in Poland. But bootleggers snuck some figures into Poland, and, they recreated a lot of these figures, like the Boba Fett you see here. Anyway, back to the caption here. Today, the bootleg toys from Poland are much appreciated by collectors, though not much is known about their history. There are more than 1,100 photos with over 330 described figures, 10 series with value and counting grading next to commentary. So, his English is a little broken, but basically he tries to identify all the different figures that were in the line, and all the 3 or 4 different lines that were out there. The first, second, and third generation of the articulated figures. You obviously had unarticulated figures and a bunch of other very rare ones that kind of in their own kind of subcategory. But the book is just incredible, and I'm not going to obviously flip through everything, but here's the table of contents. It talks about all the different series that were known. In the appendix, it's got some non-Star Wars toys that he talks about. There's a Comic Spain set, the printed cape set. I mean, it's just incredible amount of knowledge in here. Piece of artwork of a Gamorrean guard. Here's a couple of carded figures, and it basically at first runs through the brief history of bootlegs in all the different countries like Mexico, Central America, Argentina, and then over in Poland and Turkey. And it shows some examples here. It's interesting. A lot of these came from collectors that I know very well, and they're extremely rare figures. And it kind of talks about the history. Here's kind of a brief outline of a brief kind of pictorial guide of some of the different figures. These are all the deluxe series down here. You got some unarticulated figures. But the interesting fact is that, you know, he's tried to show how many different examples there are of each. Here's the Kenner figures versus their counterpart, you know, with the Polish figures. Very, very great, you know, visual guide to it. And, I mean, look at how awesome are these figures. I mean, I've never even seen a blue Darth Vader Polish bootleg, but, you know, apparently it's out there. The Gamorrean guards, if I can find those, I mean, they are just, look at these Boba Fetts. I mean, just, excuse me, Chewbacca's. I mean, extremely rare black Chewbacca's, black and white. And, you know, figures that I've never even known existed. You know, they go into great detail and show some you know, beautiful examples. And, you know, I really do love this book. It's just such a great guide for those like me who just got into it recently. I mean, look at that pink Luke Skywalker. I mean, I've never even seen one of those. Actually, I did see one of those in a friend's photo one time. But it's a great guide for people like me who do collect them. Look at all the Lukes. And, you know, if I'm having trouble identifying which generation they are, you know, it's a really nice, easy guide to identify them. Look at all the Darth Vaders. I mean, that makes my mouth water. God, I want that blue Vader so bad. It's awesome. Blue, hard rubber, red and green and white spots on chest. I mean, I guarantee you there's not more than a handful of those in existence. And, you know, I just wanted to show this to you because I recommend you guys picking this up if you get a chance. You can look up the author's name. Again, his name is Jacob Pierzynski. In case you want to look him up on Facebook, he also has a few extra copies for sale on eBay right now. They're more expensive because they're the only ones left, but he does have a few copies left. He might make another batch, he might not. My guess is he probably will not. But I would recommend getting this book if you are at all into these Polish bootlegs, because I love all these zombie bears. God, they're awesome. Zombie Ewoks. And so, you know, it's just a great resource and, you know, a great way to kind of just learn more about it. I've seen, these are the actual printing presses used to make, I've seen these for sale for like $10,000 or $12,000. You know, these are the actual original presses that they used to make the bootlegs, and I have seen some in private collectors' hands for sale. And, you know, so anyway, I won't go through the whole book, but I mean, it even talks about the different weapons, so you can make sure you're matching up the weapons okay. And some of the other very rare ones. One like this Leia just sold on eBay for like $650. So with the cape, I mean, it's just crazy. Some of the prices on some of these, if you're into collecting them. Of course, it's got Boba Fett, my favorite, and all the different generations of Boba Fett. You know, the one that you see here is the third generation Boba Fett, which is right here. And I'm dying to get some of these other variants, but you just never see them for sale, unfortunately. And, man, look at this beautiful overstock piece still on the factory sprue. So there's a lot of really, really great information in here, and I would definitely recommend picking it up if you want. I think they're on eBay for about $120 right now. Or, like I said, you can contact Jacob directly through Facebook. Just type in his name on Facebook. He should pop up. I'll give you a picture of what he looks like, so you can, this is what he looks like in case you want to look him up on Facebook. He's very easy to find. Let's see if I can get it to focus here. That's Jacob, the author. He's very knowledgeable. I mean, I've sent him private messages just asking some specific questions I had about some Polish bootlegs I was looking at, and he was always very helpful. And but you know, it's just one of those guides that was really missing in the marketplace, and he just did a fantastic job on it. It's a hardcover book, and it's just beautiful. So that's all I really had. I just thought it was worth sharing that, and like I said, there's some copies on eBay, or you can just reach out to him on Facebook. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.